expired. Chair now recognizes Mr. Burlison from Missouri for 5 minutes. Switch mics. Restart the clock.
Look at the mayor first.
Who served in prison for felon, not me.
You have everything ahead of you. Keep talking. You'll join your friends.
We'll get you a mic. Do you want to go to that one?
Okay. Apologies.
All right, we good?
Now we are.
All right. I want to start with Galanis. Mr. Galanis, you've heard the expression, say it, forget it, write it, regret it. Have you heard that expression? Mr. Galanis?
Yes, I'm here. Congressman?
Have you heard the expression, say it, forget it, write it, regret it?
Yes, I have. It was a practice that we used in our business.
In whose business?
Business with Hunter Biden and Devin Archer.
Okay, so it's their expression.
Referred to as Burma.
Let me ask you a question. Who is Harris Youssef?
Harris Youssef is a Ukrainian investor originally from Syria, a longtime colleague of Demetri Feres.
So he's a colleague of Demetri Feres. He was mentioned earlier this hearing. Who is Demetri Feres?
He's a Ukrainian oligarch very close to the Kremlin who made his fortune primarily in trading gas from Gazprom, the Russian state oil and gas company.
So connected to Vladimir Putin, correct?
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, in fact, during Hunter Biden's deposition with the committee, he justified his role. This is, I think you'll find this comical. He justified his role on the Ukrainian Burisma board by saying, in essence, that it was his patriotic duty, that he was serving, freedom, because there were, this is his quote, there were two gas companies inside Ukraine at the time. One of them was a state-owned, which was highly corrupt and connected to people like Firtash, which was directly going into Vladimir Putin's pocket. The only independent company was Burisma, end quote. Now, my question to you, based on this, he's disparaging Mr. Firtash, and yet, are you aware that that Mr. Biden, Hunter Biden, did business with Mr. Firtash?
Yes, I am.
So let me ask you, what kind of financial transactions occurred between them?
What Harris Youssef described to me, and then I was also described to me by others, including Devin and Hunter, was a $5 million payment that was made by Demetri Feres, is handled by Harris Youssef through Hunter Biden's law firm. That was deemed a success fee in order to quash an outstanding indictment for which in the United States.
So a Putin-connected Russian oligarch wired over $5 million to Hunter Biden's law firm for what activity? What was Hunter supposed to do for that $5.5 million?
He was supposed to perform in quashing the indictment that resulted in an arrest warrant for Demetri Feres, who is
being charged in the United States. Yeah, being charged in the United States in Indiana. So he's supposed to quash that, use his political influence to do so. So my question is, of that money, the $5 million, $3 million made its way to a company that you set up with Devin Archer called Bloom. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And finally, from that $3 million, there was a transfer that was made, and I've got a copy of that, the bank record to prove that, of $275,000. Do you recall that transfer?
I do.
And it went to which account?
Rosemont Seneca Bohai.
Rosemont Seneca Bohai. So despite
Correct.
what Hunter said during his deposition, based on your knowledge, was Hunter Biden connected to Rosemont Seneca Bohai? Was he part owner?
Very much so, and he said as much and had direction and control, and it was a beneficiary of the account. So there are emails that document he directed monies to be dispersed from that account, including to himself.
Now, it sounds like, despite what he's saying, what he told the committee, that this guy was a bad hombre, basically, that this Firtash guy connected to Putin. and therefore he had to get on Ukraine. And yet yet he had no problem doing business for this corrupt Russian oligarch connected to Putin. In fact, had no problem taking $5 million and a direct transfer of $275,000. Would you agree?
I agree with that, yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bobulinski, and I've got just a little bit of time left. Sorry, very little time. So I want to ask you, for God's sake, Hunter Biden is doing all of these transactions, doing all of this business, and yet his father is vice president. And we're to believe that his father isn't aware of all of these. He's been on the phone calls, he's been in the meeting, and yet he's not aware that his son is doing business with people connected to Vladimir Putin? Are we to believe that?
It's an absurd expectation.
Thank you. My time has expired.